Hey there, welcome to Studio Vista, the podcast about music studios in Europe, talking gear, philosophy and history. For this episode I traveled all the way to Finland, Helsinki. I met Lauri Hämäläinen in Sonic Pump Studios. Lauri is a classic violin player that started to produce music, anything between hip-hop and black metal. He had an interesting approach on recording vocals and a lot of more to talk about. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. This is yet another day, another story to tell. My name is David Jones. I'm a studio visitor. Here we go. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. We're in Helsinki, Sonic Pump Studios. Next to me, Lauri Hämäläinen.
Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you too. Welcome to the channel. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah?
We're quite busy, but nice to meet you finally.
I'm glad you could find a spot in your agenda for having me.
Yeah, of course. It's always fun to meet people and
you're a mixing engineer here at Sonic Pump Studios.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit how your career started?
All right. I'm actually former violinist. So my father is a violin player, and maybe I was tucked violin in my hand. Maybe I was 4 or something like that.
Really?
So the first 13 years I played violin. So I'm like classically educated in that sense. And then I went to the Sibelius High School, which is kind of this musical high school where you have lots of subjects for music, band and composing and theory and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Also combined with the normal high school stuff. And then my brother is also a musician, and maybe behind his steps I also found myself playing bass at some point, and I started to singing much more, and I'm now 41 years old. And I started playing professionally when I was 17. So I already have like professional career over 25 something years.
25 years.
Or something like that.
Quickly do the math.
Yeah, something like that. So I started to play with like idols, star bands and pop stars band and other rising stars from different genres, and that's where I like cut my teeth in pop music, and then I started get more into around at the ending of 90s. I started to play with DAWs and Logic 5. I believe what was the number.
Not even Pro.
No, it was Logic 5. From Imagic.
Imagic, yeah.
Yeah, Imagic Logic Pro, Logic 5 point something.
I was working for Atari, and at that time it was not even Imagic, it was Creator and Notator.
Yeah, Notator, yeah.
Split into 2 different programs.
So, yeah, my brother had a computer with the Logic, and when he was away or something like that, I like took over the computer and started to make music with my friends, and probably started doing some rap stuff at that point. I was huge on skateboarding and loved to snowboard and all that stuff. And the rap was kind of where we started from. And actually my friend who I started then doing some rap stuff, he's still a rap producer here in Finland, and made like platinum albums with the rap stuff.
Finnish language or English?
In Finnish.
Still friends?
Still friends, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's not common these days anymore, huh?
Yeah, well, we don't
see.
see that much. He is H&R, but yeah, no bad blood anywhere.
No, but if you're together, it's good like it always have been.
Yeah, it's we've been in high school together and stuff like that, and the fun story was that if I remember this correctly, his father and my father, they were also roommates in their earlier years. We found out that later, but that's a side story. But so after like doing that stuff, and from the high school I started to somehow gravitate towards producing and recording and stuff like that. And then I went to Polytechnic Metropolia here in Finland, and I actually graduated as a sound engineer producer from the bachelor's degree program.
Really?
I also went to, like, I had my at that time girlfriend. She was studying in Berkeley in United States, and I were there having some analog recording courses also, which was conducted by Susan Rogers, who is, for example, has recorded the Princess Purple Rain and started her career as a technician of building studios and stuff like that.
If I'm not mistaken, she was an apprentice of Tom Italy.
Yeah, I'm not. I might be.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my story in short. Then I came here 15 years ago or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. You met the Nino before.
Studio
He's
manager.
Studio manager, and I'm the oldest, or been here the most after him.
Yeah, he told me you're at least 10 years, 15 years.
Yeah, it's around 15, I think. Yeah.
You always have been recording and mixing here, or did you have any other tasks around you?
No, I'm always being just producing and recording and mixing stuff. But not always just in here. I, of course, can be in other studios too.
Out of all three, producing, mixing, or recording, what's your favorite?
What's my favorite? I think it's like seasons. When it's winter, you wait for the summer, and when you're sweating, you're already like, it should be a little bit colder, man. Recording sounds good idea, but when you're in the recording stuff, that it's a stressful situation, and there's lots of stuff to being taken care of, and mixing is the same. It sounds fun, but when you start it, you get so desperate, what the fuck am I doing? And then you go into desperate, and somehow you always manage to pull yourself out, and then it's at some point it's just everything comes together, and then it's the best feeling ever. So
is it to you also that one thing goes in hand with the other?
Yeah, some things go hand in hand with each other. For example, I started to study myself drum tuning because of mixing. I at some point arrived to the conclusion that the greatest of drum sounds ever is actually made in the tuning stages.
Yeah.
So it's an acoustic instrument, and the painful truth for every home producers and home engineers and everything like that, if it doesn't sound great on the spot, it's not gonna be sounding great later. Never. Yeah. So, but we always try to fool ourselves and do all the back of tricks and everything in order to make it happen. Of course, you can make it always better, but there's just the tuning of the drum is everything.
It's underestimated. I mean, mic placement is really important.
Yeah.
But not as important as tuning is.
No, there's if I would, the first foremost thing, it's a draw between the drummer and the tuning. Which is the first
tuning and timing.
Yeah, but then all the shells, and do you have a triple flanger loops and whatever, it doesn't matter. When the snare, I love bell brass for the snare most of the time when I'm doing stuff, so that's my favorite snare, hands down. But yeah, tuning and the drum heads needs to be new and fresh, and they need to be tuned correctly. And then the room. Then after the room, the drummer tuning, the fresh heads comes
microphones, then preamps. That's like just the icing on the cake, I think. We got a previous episode, and that guy was telling me with Stefan of Red Light Recording, and he was telling your recording will be as good as your chain is. The weakest link in your chain will break the quality of your recording. So actually what you're saying is it's even starts with tuning, not even... it's before the chain. If I would have like just one thing, I would just tune. That would be the first thing to do. It doesn't matter what's the preamp. It doesn't matter what the microphone is. It even doesn't matter who's the drummer is if the tune is off. If the tune is off, it's off. There's nothing you can do it afterwards. What do you use as a reference for tuning? I have this kind of method I'm using. It's combined with physics and notes. And for example, 10-inch tom sounds best in D. So then if you have 2-ply on the batter head and the reso head is 1-ply, you take the D from the piano and then you tune the reso head -1 semitone. And from there, you tune the batter head -3rd. And when you play it together, it sounds quarter up and octave down, and that's a D. That's the magic That's the magic, but yeah, I pulled it up when I started. It took me like 5 years or something, like research, and I talked with my friends Mikko Siren from Apocalyptica. He played it there, and he had like this. They had sessions with on the stage with some different engineers. I think it was Corey Taylor was singing some of their songs, and there was this guy, the drum doctor, who has made like every album there is, like from Green Day's American Idiot and stuff like that. And he shed some light to the tuning stuff, but it still was not complete, like the information. Then I started to research more, and I stumbled across Rick Beato, who is big Rick. Okay, Rick. Oh Beato. Yeah, I know him. Yeah, Rick Beato is everything music. He's big on YouTube, and also a little bit of big mouth, but he knows exactly what he's doing. Yeah, I stumbled across him, and then I also stumbled across Nolly Getgood from Periphery, which is like I really much love him and his style of speaking. He's very analytic and has a very good like mentoric style of teaching stuff and about just speaking about stuff. And they started crosstalk each other, like kind of pinpoint at the same source and the same method and same stuff. And there where I drew my conclusions also for the minor third, for the 2-ply and 1-ply, and then it's going with the toms. But Nolly actually had done this. He has a web page called drummersreview.com, and there's guide to tom tuning. So you can just that's a cheat sheet. You have all the methods and all the tunings there, and that's pretty much like the info. Then you just need the skills and the ear and all that, like repetition, just to go repeat, and then it starts to go. Because it was like weird. I haven't met that many drummers who are very good at tuning drums, and for the life of me, I didn't like understand it. Why? Because all the guitar players can tune their instrument, and bassists also. And there's lots of you just write drum tuning, and there's lots of drummers who are like, I do this, and it's a little bit this wishy-washy feeling stuff. But that's a bit the problem of this era. Everybody knows something. Yeah, and they can tune maybe 1 or 2 toms right,
and then the third sucks, and the fourth may be okay. So they don't have any consistency there, and maybe you know, it's depending on the mood, depending on the day. And I was like, it can't be like that because I'm an engineer. I need to have like a system, a method, something I can rely on. It can't be just feelings. So it took quite a while to hone down like some method to really get to it. But I think now I'm in a good starting point. And then, of course, there's a different like styles, tea towel sounds, and everything. You can do whatever you like. There's no rules to it. But like, there's not that many tom sounds. Like, it's more about what you're playing and how you play and how hard you hit or stuff like that. But if the acoustic instrument sounds great, it sounds great. It's like in that sense, kind of easy stuff.
We're talking about tuning from drums, but does it apply for you to any kind of instrument? The tuning, like a guitar, a bass guitar, perhaps a keyboard that's fully analog.
Well, as we know, guitars are not in tune. Not even pianos are in tune, because they're like if you take a choir or a symphonic orchestra, they will play in tune. For example, the thirds are a little bit sharp, and you know, when you play stuff in tune, it's not like it's not divided by all the notes. No. It's a little bit up or down. You can shift, and you can even hear it when you take a fifth chord in a guitar and a little bit start to tune it. At some point, it will be in tune.
Yeah.
And that's why we have temperate frets and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So the guitar as a instrument isn't quote unquote in tune, but we're used to it, and it's like the sound we are all loving and used to it, like not being in tune. But that's a different than a choir, because they will, like, by heart they will tune themselves in tune, where the upper tones, I don't know what do you call it?
Yeah, upper tones.
Upper tones, where they align, it like the rattling stops and then it's in tune.
If we step into a recording after tuning, what is the most important part for you, recording any kind of instrument? Besides the performance.
Yeah, it's maybe it starts to be like the performance then. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. What's the microphone position is very, very crucial, and the room is very crucial, and then to have like intact cables without any jinx, not a broken gear.
A little bit of quality cables.
It doesn't matter. It's you know, it's electricity.
Yeah, but don't you think a cable of steel core will do less than a copper cable, or doesn't matter to you?
There's like million stuff when you really, really, really go dig deep. It's like there's stuff that we all think we know, and we think it's like that, and then there's stuff which is not like that. So the chorus doesn't matter. The thing you want to measure is the capacitance. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what the core is, it's the capacitance what matters. And if it measures the same, it's the same. So
it's not like power cables or speaker cables that need to transfer high voltages.
Yeah.
The line signal is relatively low voltage as long as it's cable.
Well, when you have balanced signal, there's no like huge dropouts in any way. But of course, I wouldn't in studio situation. I wouldn't like put 20 meters of guitar cable before the amp, because that just sucks out of the high end.
5 is the limit.
Yeah. So I can't recall the one guy who actually had this kind of super interesting idea. He has like a maybe 1.5 meter guitar cable, and there's like this knob you can change the guitar cable length. With
Wow.
there's like a resistance which affects as a longer cable.
Yeah.
Because I love this cable, like these corkscrew cables, because it has the sound. What it actually does is just sucks it's like a low pass filter.
Yeah.
So then he's having in the guitar cable the switches for having different high pass filters.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
maybe sometimes you want that, maybe don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm more straightforward in that sense, that just good microphone, good room, good performance, and then you try not to.
After that, after the recording, we go into mixing, and we have been talking before then recording this episode. You got an interesting approach on recording vocals.
Yeah, I'm now researching this new kind of technique. Like, I picked it up from this one guy, singing teacher in YouTube called Chris Leap, and he had this very, very interesting technique where he I'm having there, like, for example, Universal Audio LA2A 610 Mark II.
Yeah.
And I used to record with that like tons. But now I've changed to 1084 preamp, 1084 or 1073 or whatever.
Before we continue, did you know the circuitries on both preamps are the same?
I think it's quite the same.
No, they are the same.
Yeah.
The only difference is the 1084 has one band of EQ extra and an interstage transformer in the box extra.
All right, okay. Yeah.
That's the difference.
Right.
That's why it sounds different.
Okay. Yeah, I just know that there's like slight different in sound, but I don't know. Maybe it's just a feel thing. But in any case, after the preamp, I'm having like huge amount like compression.
How many dB?
I don't know, hundreds. I don't know, plus 20, I think. Plus 20. I'm just crushing it with 11 to 76 and LA2A, and the workflow technique or the thing behind is to kill all the variables that we don't need.
Yeah.
And in studio we don't need volume because we have faders. We decide the volume. But what that enables for the singer is to tap into the aesthetics of singing quieter and having those register usable. Because usually when you're singing and there's music, you can't use the lower, like the quiet register at all because you don't hear it. And then you would be raising the monitor, and on the next line you would shouting or screaming, then you would be lowering it. And it's like shifting this, and it's never good. And then you all have already like dropped off the flow of the singing. So my thing is that I'm like pinpointing that volume with heavy compression. And when you don't have the volume in your head, like in the cans, in the headphones, you start to feel this open possibilities to sing different tones and textures, whatever feels the best for the particular part of the song or particular word. You could be whispering the first word and the same next word could be yelling. But when you actually, as a singer, when you actually hear it all the time, you start to feel that you have more tools because you don't have to compete with the volume and the monitoring. And so, I'm not recording it. It's just for the monitoring.
This is just for the monitoring.
Yeah. So
you told me, let's set that for the record. This is
don't record that. No. Don't do it.
Otherwise your signal will be crushed and you need to do it again.
Yeah, it will destroy that signal. But in that sense, like the feedback has been awesome. Like the singers have loved it. Like they've seen, Of course, it's a combination of everything. It's like how I make them feel here, or what's the vibe when we're going into vocal production and singing. I try to like at some point in my career, earlier stages, I was very, very keen of singing in tune. I was very precise with that because I'm a violin player.
Yeah.
I have quite sharp ear to pinpoint the off tunes stuff. But nowadays I don't produce or I don't care about the tuning at all because I can always like tune it later.
With Melodyne.
With Melodyne and stuff. Yeah.
Tune.
Yeah. I don't care about that. The only thing I'm trying to capture is emotion.
That's basically what we do with recording vocals.
Yeah, that should be the main point. Trying to capture emotion and a feeling and a performance.
We all know every person is different, every person has a different approach, but is there any kind of standard technique you can use to put everybody in the right place to give it its best performance, or?
Well, I've noticed that like there's stuff you will screw up if you do it. Like that's like more into that. If you pinpoint problematics too early, too much, too soon. So I always say it's more like carving a wooden boat. Like first you take a chainsaw and you do big lines.
Yeah.
And like just have, okay, this part goes that and that goes by. And when it the figure start to build up, then you go with little bit nicer tool and you start to shave off the curvature. And the final touches are just the details. But if you go first and you'll say all the stuff like, that's too shallow, there's no details, blah, 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 you will get, like, you will lose the singer.
It's becoming insecure, or?
Yeah, they will drop off the flow, like, and there's just too much information. Like, the main thing too is to keep the vocalist in a very good position. Like, you don't want to, you want like kind of, most of the time, of course you have different genres where if you have some super shoegazing indie pop song,
yeah,
then you would maybe want to hear the insecureness. But let's say from pop to rock to metal, you want the singer to be like the king. You want he or she to feel like a king. And I have like few rules here when we start to like record singings. First is you don't apologize. You don't apologize anything. If you made a mistake, don't apologize it. We don't want to let your subconscious know that something went wrong.
Because you're classically schooled, classical schooled artists are known for the precise work. Does that schooling help you in what you do today?
I think that gives me a base, let's say.
Yeah, that's how I meant.
Give me a base, but I've like unlearned so much stuff that
Sure.
that like I don't feel it as a burden in any ways. But it's like I have these tools. When I hear something is off, like there's like a dissonance of some kind, some chords don't mix with some other chords or with the bass, or there's some wrong tones in melodies or something like that. I just pick it up instantly and I hear it. But then when I need to explain it and go it through and walk through it, then maybe I need to somehow explain it why. So then like that I know what is fifth and what is minor 7 or whatever, major 7, it helps. Like,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, like, okay, this is a chord and I can find it from the piano and then like do the small dissonance, like ding ding ding, this is the issue, and then everybody buys it. So you don't have to argue with stuff.
I think when you don't need to argue, the performance will get better.
Most of the time, there's no arguing about most of stuff. Yeah, it's like as a producer and as an engineer, we are still like a service job.
Yeah,
we serve the artist and we serve the art.
We are too.
And so like when you are putting yourself too much in a spotlight in a wrong way, it doesn't help anybody, and it surely doesn't help your paycheck. So
then we go to mixing. There are a lot of debates. We can do that analog. We can do it in the box. We can do it hybrid. I see you mix in the box.
Yeah.
You're using Logic.
Yeah.
But you're not using the stock plugins.
Mainly not.
No.
Yeah.
What's name one favorite weapon of choice?
FabFilter Pro Q3.
Yeah, it's the most. To me, it's the most versatile EQ ever been made.
Yeah.
Just one plugin, you can do about anything with it.
Yeah, that's
But
correct.
it's not coloring.
Well, here's this controversial stuff. If I would say that every digital EQ sounds the same, would you buy it?
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay, that's the truth. They will sound the same. The only thing you're buying is user interfaces.
It's not only user interface, but it's, for instance, a great feature about the Pro Q3 is you can click a band, you can put it mid-side per band. And the second band you can put in stereo. And two higher bands to expand the stereo width, you can do one band left, one band right, and give it a little tilt.
That's user interface.
Okay.
That's not sound.
No, it's
sound is 3 dB boost in 1 kilohertz.
Oh.
That's sound. And if you take Isotope, if you take Logic, if you take Pro Tools, if you take whatever EQ, and you do the same boosts at the same frequency, and use, like, let's take white noise, and we freeze it as an audio, and you put the first EQ, and then you take the audio, and you do the null test. Do you know the null test? They all will null. The only difference is that where people get it wrong is the Q. The Q isn't standard.
No.
Decibels and hertz are standard, but the Q is not. For example, Pro Q1 is designed that way that from the Q, standard Q is 1. And +1, it starts to oscillate, so it starts to ring.
Yeah.
And below 1, it doesn't oscillate. But the actual number is, if I remember correctly, is 0.737. So when you put another EQ at 0.737 and then you put Pro Q3 in 1, it's close to the like null.
Yeah.
And then you just shift a little bit. You will probably end up having some stuff at minus 99 dB, so you don't hear it.
No.
So, but I did some years ago, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, like this kind of. Maybe it just happened to me, but I just started to use one EQ, and I do everything with one EQ.
I can
always.
imagine.
So that ends up me being super familiar with the tool I have, and not like shifting all the EQs and maybe this plugin will get me there. No, it's this which get you here.
Yeah.
And these.
I bought a UC1 controller by SSL with the Channel Strip 2 plugin, and since I don't validate with my eyes, I'm mixing better because I start listening.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff to do.
I'm really happy with that one.
Yeah.
Talking about listening, you have the Key 3 monitors.
Yeah.
You happy with those?
I'm super happy with them. Yeah, it's been like, of course, well, you don't see it in the camera, but we're quite in acoustically flat room. It's less than 3 dBs from 20 to 20K.
Really?
Yeah, it's super flat. It's like it's like bullet flat. I don't know how to say it.
That explains how these speakers sound really good.
Yeah.
I knew them before.
But also because of the system they are made with the side cancellation, it like takes out the walls in that sense, so you can actually hear the straight signal much more. But it's super flat as we walked around the room, and it doesn't just change at all.
No, it's besides that, the sweet spot is open wide.
Yeah, it's like maybe 1.5 meter, 2 meters.
Yeah.
It's like you know,
Yeah,
you get to the walls before it goes off the sweet spot.
Talking about the acoustic treatment, did a company made this? Did you guys made this yourself?
I built it myself.
Really?
Yeah, with my friend. I also almost lost my finger. I shoot a nail gun through the wood and it went also through my finger, but yeah, it's still there. So yeah, we did it like a couple of years back. I was budgeting 2 weeks for the build, and it maybe took half a year, but
Wow!
but yeah, that's what you get.
How did that come? Didn't you find the time for continuing because you need to do work?
I was already booked. Like this was one unnamed black metal band from Sweden who already booked me, and we just had the walls and the acoustic inside, but we didn't have these woods like on top of the acoustics, like when you have those, like those grates where you can see.
Yeah.
We didn't have that yet, so we just have the molten curtains and
What's behind this?
there's a Rockwool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that wall is also from floor to ceiling. It's over 70 centimeters, just Rockwool. So it's
That's kind of bass trapping.
That's a bass trap, man. There's a 56, if I recall right. Something around, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm lying. Something over 20, for sure. 20 like this
20 plates.
Rockwool, like 1 meter by 1.5 meter, like just stuffed in there. So yeah, and then inside the room is designed like with this kind of trap mentality. If you can see the sides are like those sides, they're like kind of trapping. So there's no wood like anything about there, and the bass trap is 50% covered. So 50% of the high end comes back, and 50% is sucked in, and then it's like from that point it's like 73%. This is 60%, and this is 50%. So the room is more wet on that side when you watch for here.
Yeah.
For if you play or if you sing, the room will give you more high end in that sense. But from the speaker's point of view, this room is much more drier. So it's
actually what you want.
Yeah. So the speaker sees a dry room, and the player and the performer sees a little bit more wet room.
Now I'm thinking about it. This wood on top actually works also a little bit like a diffuser.
It's a little bit like a diffuser, but it's also like just giving some high end, because it were like before we had those, it was like when I was talking and then you started to hear again when you were facing. So when you faced outwards and you talked, you couldn't almost hear the other person.
Oh.
It was so dry. So
it's not
that's not a good place to be.
Maybe I'll adopt this idea for my next renovation.
Yeah.
If we're talking about genres, you got a rich history in metal genres, but is there any other genre you would like to work on as a preference, or that doesn't matter to you?
It doesn't matter to me, but it's kind of funny situation, because everybody who personally know me, I'm not in that sense kind of metal guy. I'm a pop guy. But maybe that's the same reason I'm like wanted in the metal scene, is because I have those pop writing hooks, like pop skills, how to make a great choruses and how to make the chorus big and poppy and in that sense. And yeah, I don't know. I'm a pop guy, but I tend to do lots of rock and metal, but also I do like pop, and maybe 2 days ago we did like a country music. So it
doesn't matter to you at all.
It doesn't matter to me.
Music is music.
Music is music, and when you strip it down, all music is kind of same. If we're in a Western hemisphere, of course, when you go to India, they have a different style, a different system, and
all in the Southeast Asia is pretty complicated for us to understand.
Yeah. So, but like the Western culture is all the same, and the music is kind of all the same.
There's a great collection of guitars and bass guitars. If you have to name a specific one, what will it be? Show it to us.
Yeah, well, maybe this is the most interesting guitar that I do have. My friend Teemu Mäntysaari, who is a big guitar collector and guitar enthusiast, actually he nowadays plays in Megadeath. So he's a Finnish guy, and he also was here in our studio before he moved to Switzerland. But he kind of spotted this guitar for me from the internet. And I don't say how much did this cost, but it's barely nothing. And the reason is because of it's a Stratocaster, but it's also Ibanez. So
it's an oddity.
So it's it's an anomaly, like in that sense that the rock guys, of course, they would want a Fender guitar because that's like the main guitar to have if you have Stratocaster. So because if it's Ibanez, nobody wants that. And the metal guys, they want like more sharp edges and stuff like that. And this is a Strat, so they won't want it either. And I'm like, I'm a studio guy. Just give me a good instrument, and I make records for it. So we spotted it, and it's actually made. If the story sticks, it's made in an LA custom shop by the Steve Vai, the guy who makes his guitars.
Yeah.
And there's like a noiseless Simon Dunkers, and we just took it off like the neck, and there's a Sharpie like #1, and the body is #2, and all the insides here is copper plated inside. So it's a really good instrument, nitrocellulite lacquers and everything like that. But it's a funny story. I think Teemu has been trying to buy this from me a couple of times, but I'm not selling. Yeah. That's a funny story from that guitar.
And I also see a Knif microphone over here.
Yeah.
It's quite unique.
Yeah, it's quite unique. We met Jonte, I don't know how many years back, maybe 5 years back, and actually made his internet pages. And I've always wanted one. I can afford one good microphone, and that's maybe one of the better ones there is on the planet. Yeah, it has a C12 capsule on it, and it kind of resembles the Ella MM25, or what's like the $10,000 microphone, but it's super like a tube microphone. It's a super clean and super. Well, it's a Jonte style of building everything, like Knifonium and stuff like that. It's
the audio is amazing.
It's just a pristine, like mastering grade quality all the time from the top to the bottom. And
I've done a lot of the DIY projects, and I opened a Knif MU compressor, and I was like, this is next level.
Yeah, it's super nice. And he used to have his shop like maybe 2 kilometers from here, but now he's actually upstairs. So now we've been having a few lunches and doing some stuff.
And what do you use it for everything, or?
Mainly for vocals, yeah.
But could you use it on a guitar amp of?
Yeah, of course you could. But mainly I use different microphones for different stuff.
Besides this, what's another favorite microphone of you?
Microphones are microphones in that sense. I don't know. I've heard that I've heard the best of the best vocal sounds from SM58. So, you know, it's always, sometimes you forget when you have not that good singer, and then you try to pull all the bags of tricks and you do all the stuff, and you never like kind of get there, and then you're like something's wrong with the gear or something like that, and you always like kind of not blame yourself, but you're like wondering what is about. And then next day you have a different singer and you do just the bare minimum and it's magic.
Yeah.
So we sometimes forget. It's a little bit same as the drum tuning. If it sounds great on the spot, it's gonna be great. And if it doesn't sound great, it will most likely don't end up being magical.
But the difference between good and magical, that is huge.
Yeah, that's huge, and you'll know it. You'll know it when you get it.
Yeah.
And you'll know it when you see it. It's like you get the vibes.
You got a pretty rich career of doing everything. We're talking about magical. What's the most one of the most magical moments in your career?
I don't know. Is it boring to say? Maybe it's in the future, I hope.
No, it's not.
But I don't know. I've been doing so much, from TV to idols and to metal albums and to whatnot. So
Great story to share.
there's been one. For example, I met this girl singer had like this poet / singing / whispering kind of performance with a piano, and there was just the piano and the voice, and it was kind of the story, and we actually shoot a video for it too, which is just one long picture zooming out all the time, and she's speaking the stuff. So that was the first time, like, we're always hyping, like, let's have an analog gear and let's have a 1073 preamp and let's have a LA2A and blah, blah, blah. And that was the first time I actually understood also that they are just sounds and they have different applications, because I couldn't record with any of that gear. There was too much noise. So I had to plug the microphone straight from the mic to the Apple interface to the cleanest preamp I could, like, which is had.
Yeah.
In order to capture the faintest voice of her without the noise floor. So I can't recall if it was like she was maybe lying down on the vocal booth or something like that, but it was dark and she was lying down and I had the microphone, or she was like squinting or like being like this in the vocal booth. And I tried to record with the like basic having a little bit saturation or something like that, but we just very quickly came to the conclusion that there's too much noise, so we just need to opt for the cleanest preamp I could ever find. And that's a good reminder. Like, you don't need it all. You don't need them all the time, and they are not like one to rule them all. There's a different occasion for different preamps and different sounds and different saturation levels, and like, there are colors and there are tools, and when you are not jealous about your tools, you then you start to pick them as what suits best for the occasion.
I think we heard it all, but to wrap this episode up, is there anything you would like to share, like to say from the bottom of your heart or from the bottom of your toast? Whatever you want to say, the camera is yours.
I don't know. I appreciate the opportunity and for you visiting me, and it's been quite nice and quite pleasurable. Yeah, maybe I don't have now anything clever to say. Maybe it's just like to remind oneself every occasion now and then, just don't give up, like for anything. Like if you have some passion and if you have some dreams and stuff like that, it just to remind oneself that there's a filter and it's filtering out 99% of the people. So you just need to continue, and whatever you want, it's actually behind the next door. Just that's like the basic story of every success and every platinum and gold album is there's countless of almost quittings, like, and it's like just before the last almost quitting where it's like the breakthrough. So for people who are making music, like, you know, to have mercy. You don't know where you start from, and you don't know how long the journey will be, and just loving the journey will get you there faster than aiming for any particular target. Like just being present and trying to capture something which really moves you. That's the best key for anything when making art.
It's like about, it doesn't matter if you fall 1,000 times, if you get up 1,001 times,
yeah.
you do better.
That's.
Laurie, I want to thank you for your hospitality.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome. You're welcome. This is it for this episode. If you want to join me for an episode, get in touch. If you want to do Laurie some work, we'll link his company in the description down below. And I say bye-bye. See you next time.
Take care, man.
Yeah, man. Really.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.